All right, good afternoon, everybody. This is Jerry here on JS Farms. JS stands for Jesus Saves. Here on the farm, we are rotationally grazing sheep each and every day and sharing the gospel of Jesus as we farm. So, our goal today is to share with you how many sheep can you stock your farm per acre. How many sheep can you put on your farm per acre? So we have 30 acres here, and 30 acres, we have not even went around the whole farm one time, rotationally grazing this flock of sheep, and we haven't went around the farm the whole time. What you see is mowed, we have grazed on, and what you see in here, we just moved them on this fresh paddock today. And so we have this corner of the farm yet to graze, and we'll go around the farm and we'll go up the creek line and we'll come all the way back over to the red barn. You can maybe see over there in the distance. And then that means we have went around the farm one time. So the grasses that are on the back side of the farm, they've not had any sheep on them since last September. And now that spring has sprung, you're starting to see those spring grasses come up. So rotationally grazing these sheep on 30 acres of pasture land, we haven't went around the farm even once so far. So that means we can stock many more on this farm, probably 3 times the amount. So what are the factors that go in to deciding how many sheep you can put on your farm or how many cattle you can put on your farm? A lot of those ingredients are the same. So the first thing is the condition of the animal themselves. You don't want to squeeze your animals down so much that they're hungry all the time. So you want to give them enough square feet or enough of a pasture to stay fat on. And the first thing I look at is the condition of them. So a good example is that here on this ram to my left, I started noticing that they started getting a little dip right there by their back hip. And I started noticing the flock, 3 or 4 of them, were getting a little bit of that dip come in. So that means that they were not getting full on 5,000 square feet. So I doubled their size, and now after about a week, I've noticed they're starting to round over again. That's because I'm giving them more grass to eat, giving them more feed. So again, we move every day. So I have been moving since October the 1st on this side of Lewis Creek. I've been moving the sheep every day on 5,000 square feet. And if you do the math, you divide that by 40 head or so, you get 125 to 130 square feet of grass a day per head. And they were staying pretty fat on that. Until this spring, I started noticing that my little lamb started growing up. There's an example of one. We call her Margaret right there. You know, she was born in November, but now she's a big lamb, and she's starting to eat grass too. So my lambs are eating grass, and it's starting to be a little more scarce in the paddock, so I had to increase their size. So as your flock grows, you got to give them more ground. So to figure how many sheep I can put on this farm, if you just do some math, you can figure out how to stock it. So we look at the condition of the animal first, and then we look at the condition of the grass. And we want our animals eating on the top part of the canopy so they can get the most nutritious part of the grass. We don't want them eating all the way down to the root. We want them just kind of grazing on top all the way around. That's the most nutritious part. But we want to give our farm a lot of rest between grazes, between rotations, so their parasites don't hurt the animal. So we don't want them to graze. We want 60 days of rest before we come back to a place where we've grazed before. So if you look all the way across our farm, we haven't been over there since September. So now those grasses are growing up, and it's safe for those animals to go over there and eat and graze where they were, because their parasites that they poop out is now dead. So you don't want your animals grazing on top of the same ground, or otherwise they're going to have to be wormed. And so far, out of this whole flock, since we started in May, I've only had one sheep that was, her condition was poor enough, and we culled her. So we don't want to be worming sheep. So the second ingredient to see how many sheep per acre is the condition of your grass. So we want to give 60 days rest, right? So to make this simple, if we give our sheep 5,000 square feet every day, and we move them every day, how many rotations can we get around our farm without having to get back on it with 60 days rest? So we want 60 days rest. So we can do that by multiplying how many square feet is on this farm. So if you look at this whole farm, it's 30 acres of pasture. If you was to multiply 30 times 43,264 square feet, you get somewhere like 1.297 million square feet. So how much ground does this farm have in square feet? 1.297 on 30 acres. So how many sheep can I put in a paddock that's big enough to have 60 days rest going all the way around this farm? Well, I can build a paddock that's about 20,000 square feet, so like double this size I got here. And I can put somewhere around 120, mob them up in about 20,000 square feet. So if I graze 20,000 square feet all the way around this farm, I could have around 60 days of rest by the time I get back to the original spot. So I don't want to confuse you, but if we started here, folks, and pretend this was a 20,000 square feet paddock, and I put 120 or so, or 150 sheep in there, and as long as their condition was good, and as long as we have grasses stockpiled up, we can give our grass, we can go all the way around the farm in 60 days and come back to this spot, and this grass had time to rest and regrow. So we're looking at two things every day: the condition of our sheep and the condition of our grass. And so I hope that helps you. So if you divide 20,000 into 1.297 million square feet, you get about 64 or so days you can move them. So we're well understocked. We have over 40 head in here on what's been 5,000 square feet all year long, all winter long, but now I just give them bigger just to fatten them up good. So they're loving it. They're out here grazing. Stella's protecting them, and their condition's really good. We got lambs that are growing, twins that are happening, and so just an update on the lamb crop this year. There's one more girl in here that's yet to lamb, that's been with the ram since last September, and then this spring we should start seeing these girls I bought last November. We should see them lamb this spring. So with that said, so how many sheep per acre? Oh, you can get away with 4 or 5 per acre if you move them. That's a simple way of saying it. If you don't move them, you just give them the whole field, get ready to worm sheep, and they'll eat all your grass down, and you'll be having some trouble. So the one good thing about raising sheep is you can put a lot more sheep out here than you can cattle, and they certainly don't use a lot of water. You know, 30 acres, how many cows can you put on 30 acres? maybe if you're lucky, 15 with great management. You know, because cows really require a lot of grazing and a lot of water. And I don't know how much water a cow needs every day, but I know it's not 5 gallons to 7 gallons a day. You know, probably one cow needs 10 gallons, I don't know, but these sheep, there's over 40 head, they drink less than 10 gallons a day. And I'm not so sure that you're not drinking most of it. Look at this guard dog, she's asleep. So with that said, sheep farming can be profitable with management, and it's been real fun. But the Bible tells us, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but lose his own soul? So you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't know Jesus, you're in trouble. So I'm encouraging you to turn to Him before it's too late, and I'm encouraging you to trust in Him as your Savior. And I know I have long time ago, and certainly best decision of my life. So I hope this is encouraging you, give you some information on how many sheep per acre. And we're still learning as we go. So God bless. Have a good evening.